The Wednesday week is sponsored by Bentoria.com. That's BENTORIA.com.
Chance here, a great save by Turner from the clear. Mike Hannon, a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brentman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving that.
The Wednesday Week! Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and with me online, first of all, we have Victoria. Hello there, my darling.
Hello, my love. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How the devil are you?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm getting by.
Getting on by, mustn't grumble. And we've got James. Hello there, James Old Bean.
Top of the morning to you. I'm getting into the Irish spirit for St. Patrick's Day on Thursday, which is my third favourite day of the year behind Eurovision and Christmas.
You don't do the accent for like Chinese New Year or anything at all like that, do you, old boy?
That would be massively racist.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
I assume, James, knowing your pedigree, that you'll have a rather large stock of Guinness ready and waiting for that particular day.
Well, I've actually booked 2 days off work in order to go out and celebrate it instead. So close, but not quite.
And we're going to see pictures of James dressed in Irish garb, looking a little bit worse for wear from merchandise he's got from the pub.
Absolutely, yes.
Fantastic, I look forward to it.
Usually, the rule is that if you buy 4 pints of Guinness from the tent in town, you get a free Guinness hat, unless you sneak behind the bar and steal one.
Which, of course, you would never, ever condone, James, because you're a responsible member of the community.
Absolutely not, but I would get one of my friends to do it for me.
And we've got Eddie. Hi there, Eddie, old boy.
Quality. I possess, some say I'm fresh when my voice goes through the mesh of the microphone that I am holding. Copywritten lyrics so they can't be stolen. If they are, snap. Don't need the police to try to save them, so voice will cease. So please stay off my back or I will attack, and you don't want that. I got the power.
In it and that ting, fam. Nice to hear from you, Eddie, old boy. How the devil are you?
It's good to be back. I've been practicing that rap for fully 2 weeks. Ricardo DeForce ain't got nothing on me.
Right then, ladies and gentlemen, so let's crack on. We've got a bit to get through today. First things first, the Forest game. Sheffield Wednesday 3, Forest 0. Has to be said, before the game, the travelling fans had a bit of a time to get there, didn't they, James?
Well, apparently so. I mean, we were really lucky. We didn't realise how lucky we were because we were on the train at something like 9:30, which was running on time. Apparently, it was the first one of the day that was actually running at all to Nottingham. And it was the only one that actually ran to time. All the ones after were delayed, and we didn't. We were in Nottingham by 10:30. Drinking some lovely cans of pop. So it kind of missed us all by until we got there and started talking to some other fans who, they'd had some real tough times. People having to go to Derby and changing. Some people, I think, that just got on a coach, just got on the National Express and got through that way. So, we were really fortunate, but some fans had a right old job getting there.
All seems it's down to little scroats pinching bits and bobs off the train lines again, doesn't it? The little scumbags.
Do you know, I've never ever gone to I've been to Forest once and not been stuck in traffic. I remember there was once a night game, and it was the night that Jermaine Johnson got sent off, I think, and Franny Jeffers scored. And we got there at 60-odd minutes in because the traffic was that bad. Because there's one road in and one road out. That's all there is. There's no other way into Nottingham, and there's one train line. It's not like Sheffield where you can come via Chesterfield, via wherever. There's literally one train line and one road. And if you don't get through it, you're screwed.
And the thing is, if you come on the train and you think, I'm going to beat the traffic, you have to walk through the sort of housing estate that they use as the backdrop for every single hooligan scene in every single football hooligan movie.
Just Danny Dyer sat on his front garden.
Literally. Yeah, seriously, you can't walk through there without Danny going, you slags, and then windmilling in. So, it's an awful ground to get to. To say it's in the middle of town, in theory, terrible, awful place.
Did they follow up "You slags" with "I can see the Charlton from my kitchen"?
Attic. And it's
Sorry,
north.
I apologise.
Christ's sake.
Get it right. So on to the football, and it has to be said, Forest weren't great, were they? And it was lovely for us, of course. It was a cracking day out for all concerned. But Forest, I've got to admit, I feel a little bit sorry for them.
Am I right in thinking this is the second season in a row now where they've sacked their manager after being beaten by us?
Yep.
They sacked Pearce after we won their last season, and obviously now they've sacked Dougie Freeman. We really bring out the worst in them, don't we?
We want
really
to get us
do.
over there to sort out Robin Hood. We'd have him done in a flash, I tell you.
And then we build an airport and won't be able to use it.
No, but yeah, they were poor Forest. I mean, we controlled that game pretty much from the word go, and actually, you know, it was a good performance from us, but we didn't seem to have to work that hard in order to win pretty comfortably, to be honest. Forest just didn't really offer very much at all. Having said that, I thought that our midfield played brilliantly. I think it was so nice having Fessy back, and he makes such a difference to the team, as we knew he would do. But you just realise looking back at the goals, and you know, I think he won the ball back, didn't he, for two of those goals. So they're almost, he didn't score them, but they're almost his goals. He's created those out of nothing. Bannan played well. We'll obviously talk more about him in a bit. And I thought that Kieran Lee had a brilliant game as well. All round, though, I think it was just a good all round performance, and great that we can have those games whereby we don't need to do a huge amount in order to win quite comfortably.
I think the match was won very early on, because I think you've touched on it when you talked about Forestieri hounding Forest every time they had the ball, winning the ball back. Lee and Bannan did the exact same thing from deeper positions, and in fact the entire the 11 in the first half chased everything down, and it almost like it broke Forest's spirit very, very early on. And as a result, the second half was like a friendly game, to the extent where I think we've all seen on social media and on YouTube, etc. What was it, that 37 passes as we're just stroking it around in the second half? Forest are a broken team at that point, and we're just toying with them. But it all started with Forestieri leading the line, in the sense that when he didn't have the ball, he made sure he very quickly had the ball again. And Lee and Bannan did exactly the same thing right across the middle of the park. It was probably our most complete performance from a midfield, I'd say, this season.
Do you think that, obviously, with Fessy in the team, and when he is chasing down the ball, and when he is working really, really hard, because his little legs just don't stop moving, do they? He's forever on the go. Do you think that does sort of spread throughout the team? Do you think that's where it comes from? Do you think the players look at him and maybe they're a bit guilty of needing someone to follow, to chase down the ball? And obviously, Bannan Lee follows that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think there's if there is a criticism of this side, it's that we've got an awful lot of worker ants. We've got a lot of guys who are going to put in an amazing shift, and there aren't too many of them who will take a game by the scruff of the neck. And I think that's almost where this perception that Wednesday are not a one-man team, but a vastly superior team when Forestieri's there comes from, because he actually empowers the rest of them to go and do the same sort of things that he does. And actually, I think the back four probably had their easiest game of the season against Forest on Saturday. They didn't really have to do anything, because Forest were shell-shocked into retreating into themselves virtually from minute one.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, the new Who haters got their bats out again. But it has to be said, it was a cracking knockdown for the third goal. Don't get me wrong, Matthias still had plenty to do. I mean, he got trapped under his feet a little bit and finished it off. But it's great to see, because essentially that's what we've been trying to do with him all season, isn't it? That's what he's there. Well, essentially one of his jobs is there to do. And of course, McGeady getting his first goal, which is great to see, because he had a really good game, didn't he?
It was a cracker as well, wasn't it? If you watch it back, it was a really, really well taken goal. And I must admit, I was what was I doing at that point? I was driving. Oh, here we go. Here's an insight into my life. I was going to pick the dog up from the groomers, and he scored, and it was just unbelievable. Like I can't remember who it was now. Was it who was it on the radio that was talking?
Commentating, darling.
Yeah, commentating. Who was the co-commentator?
Oh, the co-commentator was who was it?
It was
it wasn't
someone
John
like
Pearson as usual, was it?
no, it was Newsom. Was it John Newsom?
John Newsom, it was.
It was John Newsom.
Was it?
John
Yeah.
Newsom.
There we go. So John Newsom went mental as well, and it sounded like a really, really good goal. And then I watched it back, obviously, because I like to watch when we win, or draw, anything but lose. And I did watch the highlights back, and it was a bloody good goal. And finally, he's off the mark, and hopefully that's going to be the thing now that gives him the confidence that, yeah, maybe it's taken a little bit too long, but let's hope he goes on a hooper run now and just blasts them in for fun.
He looks like a real player, didn't he, on Saturday? And actually, his goal was the second most impressive move that he put in for the entire game, because maybe 5-10 minutes before that, he had absolutely danced through the entire Forest defence. And his shot was saved. He really deserved it. It was the first time I think we really saw the quality that we thought we were getting when he turned up and said, "Hey, you know what? I need to play. I'm going to play Premier League football, and I'm going to do it to get into the Republic of Ireland squad for the Euros." And for the first time, I think we saw that level of quality from him.
McGreedy.
Isn't it McGeady?
Yeah, I think we need to get his name right.
Yeah, probably a good start.
Well, in that case, then we're best start off calling Matthias Matias, Nuhu, not Dave, Poodle, whatever. When have we ever got names right on this bloody show? Jesus.
McGreedy, though, I say that by accident, but that sounds like, if it had been Hooper, that would have worked really well with the box situation. And I was listening to it the other day when he scored. I was like, yeah, McGreedy. And I was like, no, it's McGeady. Why do I keep saying McGreedy?
Typical goal hanging McGreedy. Yeah.
Wants his box.
Carlos, after the game, was asked about promotions and things like that, and he said in his Carlos type of way that he doesn't want to waste 1 second talking about promotions. We must use our time to prepare for the next game to control what we can control. Anything else is just artificial. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Carlos, but for goodness sake, can't we get a little bit excited just yet?
He doesn't come across as that type of guy, does he? He comes across that right up until that final minute, he won't celebrate anything. He'll be like, yes, well, we will see. And actually, no, like you're right. We all want to just jump about a bit at the moment. But he's probably looked us up on the internet and thought, hold on a minute, this is Sheffield Wednesday. Let's not go too wild. At some point, they're going to draw 1-1 with Brighton and go down. So,
There's an argument as well to say that whether our bad run of form prior to the Forest game was caused by or was influenced by players getting a little bit ahead of themselves and maybe spending a bit too much time looking at the league table, and therefore Carlos has kind of noticed that and thought, right, I've got to go out my way now to kind of cut us off from that a little bit.
And of course, one of the biggest talking points from a Wednesday point of view from this game is Mr. Bannan, unfortunately getting a red card. Now, first of all, nobody on social media, on Sky even, thought this was a red card. What did we think, guys?
It's been upheld this afternoon. It's been in front of the FA, in front of the Football League. It has been upheld. So therefore, it is a legitimate red card. They're saying that the referee made the right decision. All I can say is the law is an ass, and I will kick it.
With your sick lyrics, or
yeah, you know this. I've got a devastating rap for the Football League next week. Tune in.
Of course, personally, I don't think it'd ever been a red card in its life. It's they said on the Channel 5 show that nobody watches, apart from me and James, apparently, that it was just quite
when
simply...
we win, we watch it.
Oh,
let's be right.
It was a little man stretching for the ball on there, and which is fair enough. And to me, I mean, he was touching the floor. The foot that was out didn't actually catch the player. It was his trailing foot that caught the player. And I think he did make a bit of a meal of it. But to be fair to the ref, I mean, he was in a cracking position to see it, but I still think he's chuffed it up there, if I'm honest. And again, now, because it has been thrown out, if you like, Bannan's going to miss 3 games, which is a bit of a pain in the bottom, really, isn't it?
It'll be fit for the playoffs. Hey, there we go. We'll be back.
You know what? There are worse games for us to be without Barry Bannan for 3 games than the ones that have got coming up. So if he's going to get sent off, and if the Football League, in their infinite wisdom, are going to uphold that decision, then you know what? I think we've got enough to get by for the next few games without Barry Bannan. Yes, it's a miss. I think it's absolutely key now, and I'm sure the team in the physio room and in the treatment table are really pushing to get Hutch back for these next 3 games, because it's now absolutely vital that we keep the energy of that engine room going, because you know what, Forestieri will get sent off next week as well, won't he?
Pretty much.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
He'll probably punch Newhue in the face.
He couldn't reach Newhue's face. He's far too tiny. But what do you think we're going to do for a lineup point of view? Obviously, do we think we might see McGugan? Do you think you might see McGugan pop batting to the side for an appearance or 2? Because again, he started the season off fantastically, and apparently he's fit again now. Obviously, Lopez is back. We've seen Matthias; he's back again. What do we think?
We don't have a bad rotation, do we? I think that is the one position out of all of them in the team that we are very, very comfortable with. I think you look at this time 3 years ago and think that you have Matthias or McGugan on the bench, you'd be laughing. And as it stands, we're covered. We're all right. And like Ed said, if we get Hutchinson back, that's even better. But I'm not majorly worried as I was when we lost Forestieri. I think this is, it's something that, don't get me wrong, he's one of the best players we've got by an absolute mile, but we can cope for a few games, I hope. I think we can do it, and I think we should be all right.
Are you sure we don't get on the blower and get, I don't know, shall we say...
Messi?
Chris Lines back for a few...
Let's not get Chris Lines back, no.
I love Chris Lines.
Nobody loves Chris Lines. Not even Chris Lines loves Chris Lines.
BA, everybody loves Chris Lines. The last little bit from the game, of course, I don't know if you chaps and chapettes saw, but after the McGeady goal, Tango did celebrate with some gusto, didn't he?
Oh, it's a bit awkward, wasn't it?
I've not seen this. You need to talk me through this. I've not seen it.
So Tango celebrated, as he does. Like, to be fair to him, when you watch it back, he wasn't being his usual out there self. He was just jumping about a bit, and he happened to slap some woman round the face. and she was not very happy about it. I think apparently they are friends, so I've seen online. They are actually mates. It was all a bit of banter. But to many of us watching it, it looked a bit awkward. It was one of those...
Is this like football domestic violence that we've got going on here?
Honestly, if you watch it back, it feels so uncomfortable. But knowing that they're mates, I'm all right with it.
The awkwardity of it was mainly due to the fact that it was McGeady is celebrating his goal. The entire squad are around him. Everyone is happy. But the only thing you can actually watch is Tango and this woman. I mean, she is tearing a strip off him. She's basically, you've just punched me in the back of the head, you fat fuck. What are you even doing? And he's like, I got wait a minute. Oh, we're all Wednesday, aren't we? And she continues to have a go through the end until the camera swings away again. It's not our finest moment as fans. Let's be honest.
I'm going to have to take you back here nearly 25 years to the original Tango adverts on the TV, which is where the name Tango came from, which were entirely based around the premise of a bald fat guy just running up to someone and slapping them.
Yeah.
So all he's doing
is been tangoed.
He's keeping the memory of the original Tango alive. And fair play to the
when
kids.
You've been tangoed, don't you?
Oh, she did. And she made sure that everyone else around her knew.
It's a proud tradition. Oh no. Jeeves, we're going to need some more equipment.
Then you need to speak to Oddballs, a speciality.
What the?
Oddballs, a speciality deal in steel, food, and engineering equipment.
Where's that voice coming from?
We offer great deals on all types of equipment and can include dismantling, delivery, and erection anywhere in the world.
Did he just say erection?
We can also buy your surplus equipment or sell it on commission. With over 30 years' experience, let us achieve the best deal for you.
Where can I find out more, Voice in the Sky?
Go to www.bentoria.com.
You heard him, folks. Jeeves, get a broom. Right then, ladies and gents. So let's crack on, shall we, with a little bit of Wednesday news. And to be fair, there's not a massive amount of it this week. But the first thing that popped out is Blackburn, Ipswich, and MK Dons have been categorised E, D, and E for ticket reasons. Of course, that means under 17s can sit anywhere in the ground for a tenner. Under 11s can sit anywhere in the ground for a fiver. Obviously, Charlton looks like it's going to be a massive, massive gate. When that comes up on Saturday, it looks like they've opened the lower stand of the Leppings Lane end for home fans as well for the Charlton game, so tickets are selling well. Do we think that Mr. C has noticed how well these tickets are selling when they're just a little bit cheaper, and we're trying to sort of fill these grounds to get this promotion run going?
Is it the school holidays? Or am I just being cynical? Are there school holidays coming up around those games?
They certainly are.
There we go. Thank you. Bye-bye.
There's not though, is there? Because the school holidays are over Easter when we don't even play.
Actually, we've got
There must be something.
There's two weeks of school holidays starting like next weekend. So Charlton is not school holiday, but it's going to be school holiday from that point on. So granted, we don't play over the Easter period because it's international week. But then after that, it is all school holiday all the time. So we've got 3 games, haven't we? Of which 2 are at Hillsborough. It's entirely understandable that they've done this. I suspect what we'll get is, if you go back maybe 5-6 years, when they used to give an awful lot of free tickets out, I think it was probably in the Lee Strafford era, there was a lot of chanting that went on, and it was quite funny because the hooligan end of the North Stand, or James's end of the North Stand, as it's known, they would be there giving it, Wednesday. And then you'd get at the exact same time from the kind of the end of the South Stand that doesn't sell, Wednesday, and it made a beautiful harmony.
Was that just you?
No.
Do you move there during the school holidays?
Yeah.
Have you guys sat in the lower Leppings before?
Yes.
I've never been in the Leppings Lane end. Never been.
No, me either. I think I've been up there once when I worked there. During a game, I went up to go and check something in the top end, but I didn't actually sit there for a match.
Was it okay? When you went to check, was it okay, Victoria?
It was all fine. But it would be weird. I don't think I could do it.
I've sat in there once.
It'd feel like being an away fan at Hillsborough, and that just feels so wrong.
In the olden days, when Mr. Allen was still in charge, he got some tickets out for the local scouting movement, and me being a little scout at the time, went along in my neckerchief and sat behind the goal in that end, and it was the strangest experience ever, looking at the cop where I would normally sit. And I tell you what, it can be quite daunting from that end of the actual ground. It's really quite strange.
It's a very shallow view from there. Like you, I've been there actually more years ago than I care to admit. It was, I'll tell you when it was, 1993, when we had a game against Leeds. And because I wasn't a season ticket holder then, I had to pay on the gate. And so me and my dad trotted down to the old ticket office under the South Stand. And we got tickets in the lower lep. And there must have been about 33,000 there that day. It was an awe-inspiring sight, being at the bottom end of the lep and just seeing the 3 home stands as well. It was actually quite cool. And Chris Waddle scored an absolute perler of a free kick at that end. So actually, I've got quite good memories of it.
If anyone who follows us on Twitter has a video from that end, I'd love to see what Hillsborough looks like from that end. Like a video, not a photo. I know what it looks like from a photo. I can see it from my attic.
Just to check, loads of Leeds fans posted loads from when we played the other week.
I'd love to see it. Can someone share one with me? I'd absolutely love to see what it's like.
There must be loads of Wednesday fans who've taken videos on like Wickham on the promotion day. Because that was all given over to Wednesday fans, both upper and lower. So there must be some absolutely brilliant pictures and videos that we've never really seen of the north, the Cop, and the south from that end of the ground, because we don't normally see that, do we?
Oh, I do like another angle, ladies and gents. I really do like another angle.
We did used to do this, didn't we? Every for a while, we did it every year. We had like a home away game every year, where we give I can't remember if it was I think it was the upper Leppings Lane end to Wednesday fans. I always wanted to do it. I always wanted to go and for whatever reason never managed to, just because of the fact that that particular stand carries a lot of history behind it, and at some point or another, obviously it's going to be knocked down or something will happen and it will no longer be there. And you just think for a stand that carries so much history, I'd quite like to actually experience going and watching a football match in there at some point.
The facilities are absolutely diabolical, to be honest. You don't want to be there. You know, we piss and moan about the North Stand concourse, but it's like the Hilton in Beverly Hills compared to the LEP. So, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it.
Right.
While we're on about the North Stand concourse, can I just do a shout out this week? The upper concourse of the North Stand has televisions.
Woo,
we have
telly.
TVs. However, my dad is not impressed because every other gangway has one apart from gangway T, where we sit. So he's not happy with that. Sort it out Wednesday.
It's all about Gangway C, Vic. You know this. It's all about Gangway C.
It is. I love your TV.
That's where it's at.
Maybe it's time to call Oddballs a speciality.
They do some equipment, apparently.
They do, including erection.
Did he just say?
Right then, ladies and gents, so let's crack on, shall we? And another little bit of, not so much news, but a cracking little photo that I saw, tweeted by Heather, or at OwlH3VZ, if you like to follow on Twitter, cracking Wednesday night, had a picture took with Fessy after the Forest game, at the Forest match, and Fessy's wearing a Wednesday Till I Die t-shirt on there. Now, we saw his Watford shin pads, and now he's wearing a bit of Wednesday merch. He loves a bit of merch, doesn't he? Oh, little Fessy.
Where do we get that t-shirt from? I've not seen it before.
I want that t-shirt.
It is bloody, that is a sexy t-shirt. That's not some tat that you get in the club, the Wednesday Mega Store. That is some premium quality shit right there. So can we find out where that is from? Is it a one-off? Is it limited edition? I will buy it. I will pay for it. It's beautiful.
Can we get him in a Wednesday week t-shirt?
We need to design those.
Yeah, there is that. But I think he'd wear it.
Can we just do a huge picture of Fudgy's face, and then on the back just his cheeks, just his beautiful tight bum cheeks,
and put quite the European underneath, which is
exactly
beautifully. But no, I think if we sent him some merch, essentially it looks like he'll just wear any old thing if it's free. We can send him a Wednesday week lunchbox to take his dinner in, and a little Wednesday week hat and the keyring.
I'm on it.
Honestly, fantastic. But no, it's just a little bit odd, isn't it? Right then, so next thing on the agenda, Eddie, I believe you've got a little game for us, Alpine.
Yeah, so this is something that's been brewing for a while. So I spend a lot of time on Twitter, and I'm not the most consistent poster. I like to post.
Tweet. You follow everybody, but you don't tweet. But you know everything that's going on.
I don't tweet enough, but I've always got my Twitter feed running down the side of my screen, like literally 16 hours a day when I'm not sleeping. I've got my Twitter feed, so I know what's going down. But I noticed when I went on Twitter a couple of weeks ago that it has this function where if you click on a particular person's account, it shows you which people you follow that you have in common. So just like on Facebook, you've got you have common friends. So if you click on someone, it might say you've got 3 mutual friends. Okay, so this works exactly the same way. But if you follow someone and a Wednesday player follows someone, it tells you who those people are. So I thought I'd go through the Wednesday squad once I'd spotted this and try and work out the most bizarre people that both I and members of the Sheffield Wednesday squad follow. And this is not an exciting shaming the Sheffield Wednesday squad, because actually it shames me as well, because it gives you an insight into exactly who I follow on Twitter. But if I give you the name of a celebrity, a non-Sheffield Wednesday related celebrity, can you tell me which member of our first team squad follows that celebrity? So
we can try.
So I'm going to start with a simple one, an easy one to ease you in there. Okay, so Czech tennis star Petra Kvitova, who out of our first team squad might Victoria, go for it.
Can I go Poodle?
It is, of course it's Poodle, because it's the Czech connection, so it all makes sense. Okay, so you see where we're going with this. Okay, right. So, we'll kick it up a notch. Okay,
are we keeping scores?
Well, no,
I'm winning.
You're so competitive.
I know.
It's not a competition.
We could play along at home. Okay, so what about Christina Aguilera. So we're talking big star, Latin heritage. Who might follow Christina Aguilera?
Lord H.
Lord H, go for it.
Carlos.
It's not Carlos,
Boo.
no. It is, in fact, Fernando Forestieri.
Ah.
So, that South American vibe. That's like, all of this makes sense, so this is fine. Okay, so we'll kick it up a notch now. What about Talisa, former X Factor judge and member of N-Dubs?
Oh, it's got to be a chav, hasn't it? It's got to be a chav. Michael Turner.
Victoria.
Is it Michael Turner?
It's not Michael Turner. No, you're right. He's got
it's got to be
urban
Hooper.
Vibe.
Got to be Hooper.
No, it's not Hoop Dog. It's a bit that urban vibe.
Kieran Westwood.
Oh, so close from the mean streets of Manchester. It's Kieran Lee. Kieran Lee loves a bit of Talisa.
Keeping it real.
And also, and this will really please Fudge, and I wish Fudge was here for this, Kieran Lee also follows porn star Kieran Lee. Who has the same name as him.
Of course he does.
So absolutely
There's a man
brilliant.
that keeps coming up on my Facebook that's someone I may know that I have like 20 odd friends in common with that's called Kieran Lee, but it's not Kieran Lee or porn star Kieran Lee. It's like this really chiseled, like preened, beautiful man. I don't know who he is.
That is our Kieran Lee. Chiseled, beautiful.
Mm.
No, okay.
Joey Barton lookalike.
So, as you all know, I'm a superannuated member of the team. Obviously, everyone else on a Wednesday week is still young and beautiful. I'm here to bring a more mature vibe to proceedings. However, the Wednesday players also like a bit of cougar action. So, if I say to you, Natalie Sawyer, friend of the podcast, David Garrido. Who do you think follows Natalie Sawyer on Twitter?
H.
Go for it, Lord.
I would imagine everybody.
Well, pretty much quite a few of them do. But Keelan Lavery likes a bit of the Sawyer.
You little filth ball.
Likes an older lady, does it? Oh, jiggly monkey.
The yellow dress.
Also following the older ladies, what about Good Morning Britain star Susanna Reid?
Victorious.
Go for it.
Right,
so let's put it in perspective. So Susanna Reid's there on the morning. She presents a show. It's good for families, probably young parents, guys who've just maybe.
Hutchinson.
It's not.
Liam Palmer.
I don't know Hutch was on Twitter.
Absolutely, Liam Palmer.
Liam Palmer.
I don't know who's on Twitter and who isn't. I've only just followed Gary Hooper.
And also on the same vein, although this is probably the most extreme one of it. Okay, so. As you all know, I'm a huge Girls Aloud fan, always have been, probably the greatest band of
We spent
the last
a great night at
20
Girls
years.
Aloud, Edward.
Hey, look, if they're worth missing the Champions League final for,
yes,
then they must be good. So Kimberly Walsh from Girls Aloud, who's a personal favourite of mine, is followed by which up-and-coming young Sheffield Wednesday star?
Oh, Victoria! George Hurst.
It is George Hurst. He loves a bit of Kimber, and why not? Absolutely. So that's it. Right?
She's local, isn't she? He could get in there.
She's from Bradford, isn't she? Bradford.
Oh, I don't like that.
So there's only two more that I'll bring to your attention. So when I was a young pup, I was a little bit obsessed with Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Melissa Joan Hart. Clarissa explains it all. Do you remember her? Well, obviously, I think we all
Teenage boy up to the ladder, up to the window.
Absolutely.
Standard.
So, quite right too. And you know what? If you had 3 consecutive matches where you would just be at home catching up on TV and you wanted to watch some Melissa Joan Hart, then it would be perfect. Go on.
Victoria, Barry Bannan.
It is Barry Bannan follows Melissa Joan Hart. And she is fantastic on Twitter. She's a very active member of the community. He's big into her American football. She's big into her NFL. Last one. It's not even a guess. It's not a thing. The other one that probably disturbed me more than anything is the fact that apart from Girls Aloud, I was a big Busted fan. I make no apologies for this. Busted were a great pop band, and that's fine. Busted are now back together, right? And this is the reason why I actually found this game and understood how all this was going on was because I realised that when I clicked on Busted's Twitter account to see when they were touring in their reform, no, don't.
You're digging, old boy. You're digging.
Mick
you know,
busted or just busted?
Hey, they're what I go to school for. That's all I'm saying. So when I clicked on Busted and it came up with the fellow Twitter friends who follow Busted, there were quite a few, and I'm not going to name and shame any of you, other than Sheffield Wednesday legend and my favourite ever player, Chris Waddle, also follows Busted. So, Chris, if you're listening, we will be at Wembley Arena, at the O2 Arena, the day after the playoff final. So, if you happen to be down at Wembley for the playoff final, and it may or may not be Sheffield Wednesday playing, I cordially invite you to join us at the O2 to watch a bit of Busted the day after. That is the perfect
Imagine
weekend,
if he turned
surely.
up.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
Oh, it's the dream, isn't it?
I would be glad I crashed the wedding that day. So what I want now, get on your Twitter feeds, go find the most embarrassing people that you follow. The people who, the fact that you follow them gives an insight into the windows of your soul, right? And find which Wednesday players you have in common with those Twitter celebrities. And tweet us at TWWcast. Let's find out what the deepest, darkest desires of Sheffield Wednesday's first team squad are, and how they share them with you, because I enjoyed that immensely.
So did I, Eddie. Great game. Great game.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Larry. Love that. Absolutely love it. And please do tweet us your followers from that as well. James, up next. I believe we've got some little bits for us, Albie.
It's little bits time. I've actually got a couple of things this week. One is quite serious, in so much that I've actually done some analysis of the league table. And
it must
the
be
other
after Christmas.
The other is less serious. Obviously at the moment everyone talking about whether we're going to make it into the top 6 by the end of the season, all that kind of stuff. Right. So 6 wins from our last 9 games would put us on 77 points. And that would have been enough for the playoffs in 4 of the last 5 seasons. Last season we'd have missed out by a point. But at this stage last season, the team in 6th had 3 more points than we do now. So the standard was higher. Ergo, 6 more wins, and we should be pretty much home and dry. And we've got 5 games at home, which means 1 away win, 3 away draws. We should be more or less there. So there's no need to panic. I know, stats are all crap, but the stats would suggest that it's very much in our hands, and we have nothing to fear.
I'm just going to put my shoes and socks back on because I had to actually count on my toes.
That sounds like the shipping forecast.
Victoria!
We have nothing to fear.
Would you like me to run through who those 9 games were again so then we can decide which 6 we're going to win? No. All right. On a slightly less serious note, I can't remember how I found this, but I stumbled across a guy that writes a Bolton Wanderers blog.
I've used that excuse when Lady H has been looking through my internet history as well.
Yeah. And it caught my eye because he posted his blog after the game against Preston at the weekend, which was entitled Player Ratings, Spineless Shitbags 1, Preston 2. So I thought, this will be interesting, so I'll have a read through this. So he's basically given scores to all the Bolton players after their 2-1 home defeat from Preston. And it starts with their goalkeeper, who he gives 0 out of 10. To. And you can kind of guess it kind of goes on in this kind of fashion with him scoring players quite lowly. And then we get to Darren Pratley, who also gets 0. And the description of easily the worst footballer I've ever seen in my life. I hate you, Darren. I hate that you're captain of my club. I hate that we worried about you leaving last year. The cheers when you were substituted were not ironic. It was us celebrating you leaving the field. Good riddance. Former Sheffield Wednesday transfer target Mark Davies, who gets 3 out of 10, with the description of just nothing at all. Nothing positive, no influence, no runs, no goals, no points. I am
my review at work. This.
I am saving the highlight of this match review until now, which is when we get to Gary Medine, who scores -500 billion. Gary, I know you read these ratings. I know you fucking live for ratings. So let me tell you this, you shithouse. You're a big man, but you're soft as shit. You arrived at Bolton with a reputation as a tough guy. Ha! Did someone do something in prison that upset you? Is that why you're scared of physical contact? It's understandable. I've seen the Shawshank Redemption. This is not an excuse. This too is no exaggeration, but we all hate you. You're a shit footballer and you're stealing a living. Go
Please
away.
send me a link to
Go
this,
away
'cause I have
now.
some friends
Never
that would
return.
appreciate it.
Ever. Fuck off. I hate you.
Wow.
Oh my God!
Word-
It's like
word
my
for
mum
word.
writes me a card.
Would you like me to post a link to that?
Please.
Pop it out from the TWW cast Twitter feed if you wouldn't mind, Jay, so all our listeners can see that as well. But that is, again, very much how Lady H replied to my conversation after she had seen my internet history.
Can I just apologise for my bad language during that? I don't normally swear on the podcast, but I did feel it was necessary to read that word for word.
I loved it. That was brilliant. Thank you.
But hi, Gary, if you're listening.
I've got a
apparently he
lawn
is.
that needs mowing.
Because he loves it. He loves it.
I've got a car that needs setting fire to. If I can contact you privately.
The Wednesday week is proud to be associated with Cavendish Cancer Care. Cavendish is a Sheffield charity dedicated to improving the quality of life for people living with cancer. No one should face cancer alone, so Cavendish provides emotional support through counselling and complementary therapies. The services they provide are free of charge and are funded through donations. If you can help or would like to find out more information, you can go to www.cavcare.org.uk. That's CAVCARE.org.uk. Right then, ladies and gents, so let's crack on, shall we? Last little bit we need to speak about, of course, is the visit of Charlton to Hillsborough. Now, this looks like it's going to be a decent gate, doesn't it? Obviously, there was a price decrease, shall we say. Mr. Chancery trying to fill the ground. Let's face it, it's not too hard for us to sell away tickets, is it? I mean, crikey, Huddersfield, 4,000 tickets sold in less than 12 hours? That's incredible, isn't it? The away tickets
It
are in
is literally up the road, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
4,000.
It's closer than Rotherham.
The away tickets are in such high demand at the moment, aren't they?
And there were 31 quid as well for Huddersfield, so it's not like a super cheap one or anything. 31's quite pricey for that away end that doesn't actually, it's not filled in at the sides. You get blown to buggery in that stand.
And it's not even as if they've only given us a tiny allocation as well. You know, there is demand for this game. We are going to turn up in numbers. It feels, I don't want to tempt fate, feels a little bit like promotion season.
No.
Going into
No.
Easter, going to the. It's not called the McAlpine. It's called what's called the John Smith Stadium nowadays. Have it. We're gonna go there. Niall Ranger is going to score. He's going to take his shin pad off for no apparent reason. Still don't get that. If anyone can explain why Niall Ranger took his shin pad off.
Andy Booth's going to come down with his
shin pad, wasn't
pom-poms.
It was what?
Wasn't it a Watford shin pad? Oh, wrong player.
Yeah, probably.
That was
Fessy will take off all of his clothes to reveal Sheffield Wednesday official club merchandise.
Bugger, I've not got a ticket.
We need someone to play the role of Miguel Lera. Is there anyone who can wear a scrum cap and take a free kick? I'm thinking Ross Wallace.
But no, the tickets for away games are in cracking demand. Obviously, the Charlton game, as we mentioned earlier, they've opened the lower Leppins for that as well, so the tickets are selling for this. Obviously, we just need to hope that Charlton play their part, and it does look as though Charlton fans aren't terribly happy with the club at the moment. They have announced losses of £3.78 million. There was actually a coffin brought into the ground by the supporters, unhappy with their chief executives. Then, of course, was all the beach balls that were thrown onto the pitch. There was whistles blown throughout the game in the crowd, obviously causing ridiculous confusion for players, thinking it was a referee, etc., etc., etc. There was a small pitch invasion as well, and it just doesn't seem a happy place to be at the moment, does it, Charlton?
It doesn't. But can I just ask, Mr. Hoyland, Edward, Can you read the club statement from tonight for us? I feel like you do it the most justice.
So, so Charlton, off the back of the aforementioned protests, I think fans also walked out on 74 minutes. I don't really know what the 74 was about, but it's not a happy place there. It reminds me very much of how it was at Hillsborough in the dark days of 2010. But yeah, so so Charlton have released a statement on their official website tonight. See if you can guess that this probably hasn't been cleared by their marketing and PR and social media teams. Dear fans, last Sunday, some individuals did not come to the Valley to watch the game and support the team, but came to create disorder on the pitch and interfere with the players and the game. Disorder which is allegedly needed to drive change in ownership and management. Whom would they expect the club to be sold to? How long would a sales process take? Is it easier to sell a club when it is in League One rather than the Championship? Some individuals seem to want the club to fail. This is a confused approach, since following this logic leads to exactly the opposite of what we all want, staying in the Championship. It carries on basically an absolutely mental rant, right? But then it finishes off with, I think that fans don't see themselves as customers, and they go to restaurants with their families every week, and they go to the cinema, but if they aren't satisfied with the product, will they go and scream to the people in charge of it? No, they don't. But they do it with a football club, and that's very weird, because they feel a sense of ownership of a football club, and that's a really difficult balance of how you try and engage with fans and make them incorporated into some of the decisions of the club. ... So basically, in short, Charlton have lost the plot.
They really have, haven't they? And it's as big a mess as I think I've seen at a club. Obviously, there was Blackpool last season where they had the game they had to abandon because of all the fans invading the pitch. But I was glued to it on Sunday. Obviously watching the match to see how Middlesbrough got on as well. But then watching lots of videos that fans were posting who were in the stand behind the goal, Charlton fans, and all the stuff that was going on. And yeah, it's really unhealthy. It's not a good state for a club to be in. And you've got to feel some sympathy for them as well, because it seems to be a little bit of an experiment that's going on there with this guy that owns various clubs around Europe, but wants to work to a certain system, always recruiting managers from within his sort of network, moving about the clubs that he owns, rather than necessarily people that have got experience in the leagues that his teams are in. And it just seems like a real mess. And I don't think we've ever had any particular love lost between us and Charlton, but I think they're a club that have always been very kind of community focused and very kind of community based. And it's such a shame that kind of like the heart's being just ripped out of that club in the space really of about, a year, 18 months?
Don't get me wrong, I chuffing hate Charlton. They always seem like a nice club until our promotion season, when they just got a little bit too, titified, for the want of a better phrase. But it has to be said that they're not doing terribly badly at the moment, football-wise, are they? Beat Middlesbrough 2-0. Drew with Dons, which is fair enough. Beat Brentford as well, who've been a decent team this season. Of course, before that, they had that cracking sort of 4-3 loss against Reading as well, which was a belting game. So, yes, their owners clearly are insane. The fans are clearly unhappy. But when it comes to the football, do you think we have much to worry about at a full Hillsborough?
Well, yeah, of course, it's not going to be a walk in the park, and let's not make the mistake that we did when we went down there earlier in the season and think that it's just a straightforward 3 points. It's not going to be an easy game. Playing a team in the bottom three at this time of the year is never going to be easy, because they're going to fight and they're going to scrap. And when they've already beaten Middlesbrough and a few other good wins that they've had of late, it might be from the football point of view that their tails are up a little bit, and maybe they're thinking that they can get out of it. So we've got to approach it in the right way. It isn't going to be a straightforward, easy win, but I do think that we will win. But I think it's going to be a scrappy one.
We have to win, don't we? At the end of the day, we looked at we touched on it. The running that we've got,
we need to aspire to 6 wins at the least. We've got those 5 games at home, and there isn't a single one of those games that we shouldn't be the favourites in. I think Ipswich is probably the toughest of them, but it starts with Saturday. And Saturday we are facing a team that appears to be in absolute turmoil off the pitch, a team that is marooned at the foot of the table. We absolutely need to put in a performance, and we need to do what we've done all season right up to the Rotherham game, which is dominate teams on our own patch. And there's going to be a big crowd there at Hillsborough, which I saw this week. When we have more than 30,000 in the ground at Hillsborough, we're on something like a 14-match unbeaten run, because the Wednesday fans are the best fans in the world, and we roar our team on to victory. So let's continue that. Let's not let our memories of what we went through and our sympathy with what the Charlton fans must be going through right now cloud our judgment. They're just the next victims. With or without Barry Bannan, we need to run through them. We need to put them back in their box. We need to send them down. So Sheffield Wednesday versus Charlton, it's 3 points, and we move on to the next one.
As we said, they've been absolutely shipping goals all season, haven't they? I think goal difference at the moment is on minus 32, which is the highest in the league. I mean, if we don't win this one, and again, I know I'm going to sound a bit too big for my boots. I did it against Rotherham, we did it against Preston, etc., etc. But we've got to be winning these chuffing games against these lower team tables, haven't we? We need to be winning these and picking up these points if we've got any chance of cracking on with this playoff spot.
Yeah, absolutely. We've not got a great record against the bottom 3. I think the only one of them that we've beaten this season is Rotherham, who we've also lost to as well this season. So we've got to put that right, and Carlos will know that. The players will know that. We've been caught out enough times for them not to be going into this game with the wrong attitude. I don't think they'll be going to it thinking it's a game that's already won, because we've done that 2 or 3 times this season and ultimately ended up losing games and dropping points because of it. You're right in saying that Charlton do ship goals, and they really do. And if we're on form, then we could have a whale of a time on Saturday. I think the significance of the fans walking out on the 76th minute was because that was the number of goals that they've conceded so far this season, which is an astonishingly high number of goals at this stage of the season. But yeah, our job, as Eddie rightly says, we've got to inflict some more pain on them. It's the business end of the season. We need to win our home games, and we've just got to go out there and do it now.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. All been right then, ladies and gentlemen. So that's going to just about wrap us up for this week. Victoria, my sweet darling, if people want to find you over there on the Twitterage, etc., etc., where can we do that?
Well, I am at Victoria1867 on the Twitter and pretty much every other social media outlet.
MySpace?
No. I think I'm Vicky SWSC with a KKI on MySpace, if you'd like to find some horrendous old school photos.
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. James, Albin, where can people find you over there on the Twitterage?
I am quite simply at James Marriott. And I think we'll be in our usual haunt on Saturday before and after the game. So if anyone wants to come and see us in our unofficial official home of the Riverside Cafe, I'm pretty certain they will now have run out of Belgian Blue beer. Ooh. So it will be a slightly sad occasion. I forgot to ask, by the way. I know I'm not sure if this ever really took off. Is anyone doing the Honolulu Day on Saturday?
Oh, absolutely! No. Completely forgot about that. I apologise. Our friends over there at the Cop End have organised the Honolulu Day. So if you are one of the people that are being involved, please, by all means, send us the pictures, and we shall retweet the chuff out of them in your wonderful Hawaiian shirts and Victoria's grass skirt.
I have a palm tree T-shirt to wear for the occasion.
Fantastic!
Very much looking forward to it.
Eddie, oh boy, where can people find you over there on the Twitter and see your palm tree T-shirt?
Yeah, okay, so I'm on Pixo at pixo.com / Eddie77. No, does Pixo, is that still a thing? What else is there?
I've never even heard of it.
No, that's very, very old.
Are you on MSN, babes?
Yeah. You find me on MSN. I'm at Eddie_Mayavea at hotmail.com.
Hang on, I'm just gonna look you up on Friends Reunited now. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm definitely on there. Yes, no, I'm on Twitter. I follow many of the same celebrities as Barry Bannan, and I am at Sausage Arms. So follow me on Twitter. Seriously, give me a shout out when you find bizarre celebrities that you follow with Sheffield Wednesday first team players or Sheffield Wednesday legends. And if not, you will see me on Saturday if you happen to be in the Riverside Club with the rest of the gang.
Of course, get all of me over there on the Twitterage at Lord Hates. That's L0RD_H. You can get all the podcast at TWWcast and send us an email. Like us on Facebook. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It has to be said that since we sort of got our Podbean service up and running, just on sort of Podbean and iTunes, we've just cracked over 30,000 downloads for this this season so far as well. So thank you so much. That's only on those, so of course that's not including the numbers for our other outlets as well. So again, everybody, thank you so much for listening. 30,000 people have downloaded this nonsense just from that. What on earth is wrong with
Get a life.
Good
Log
Lord.
off now. Right? Delete it. Get on with your life. Go and see your wife. Go and see your husband. Go and feed the dog. Feed the cat. Don't do this to yourself.
You can do all those things whilst you're listening, Victoria. That's the beauty of it. But no, seriously, thank you all so much. And of course, please do tweet us and get involved yourselves. Ladies and gents, it's been a pleasure as always. Be good, be safe, and we shall see you.
We'll see you real soon.
You've got no role here anymore, Your Lordship.
That's it. I'm all done.
Victoria has stolen every single word that you say.
I love it.
There's a chance here, a great save by Turner from McClare. Mike Tango, a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brentman against Jones. Get in. You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble with saving that.
Right, so let's crack on, shall we? Next little bit of Wednesday news that popped
I'll be back
out.
in a minute.
Oh, let's not crack on.
Just talk over it then.
Let's crack off.
Let's crack off, ladies and gentlemen. That's wrong up bad.
That'll
I
fill
did
a
that
minute.
before. I'm very tired now. Just quite sleepy. So I'm going to start with with an easy one, just to warm you up. Okay, so this is Czech tennis player Petra Kvitova. Who do you think could follow Petra Kvitova on? Oh, bloody phone.
Saved
Right,
by
hang
the
on.
bell.
I'll go back.
Hello.
No, we don't want any bloody
sure?
windows.
Right, she's got it. It's fine. I think it's probably my mum and dad. Anyway, right.
Hello.
Okay, so
Bye.
I'm on a podcast. No, it's
I'm
shit.
recording.
no, it's rubbish. Right. Okay, so we're back at it. I've got my MySpace page on. I've got Heartbeat
What?
by Jams as my my
Jesus.
music. Vic, I've just looked at my top 8, right? So this is my actual MySpace right now. You are number 1 in my top 8.
Yeah, man.
So it's you,
Living the dream.